The day the library came to life. I've always loved libraries, the smell of old books, the quiet hum of the air conditioning, and the soft rustling of pages being turned. But nothing could have prepared me for what happened on that fateful Friday evening. I was working late as usual at the small public library in my town. It was a quiet night, and the only other person there was Mrs. Jenkins, a sweet old lady who loved to read historical romances. She had just left, leaving me alone with the stacks of books and the gentle ticking of the clock. I decided to do a bit of reorganizing in the old archives section. The archives were a bit spooky, tucked away in the basement, with shelves that seemed to stretch on forever. I flicked on the light switch, and the dim bulbs flickered to life, casting eerie shadows on the walls. As I was rearranging a particularly heavy volume on medieval architecture, I heard a soft whisper. At first, I thought it was my imagination, but then I heard it again, louder this time. "Help me!" My heart raced, and I looked around, but there was no one there, just rows and rows of dusty old books. I shook my head, blaming fatigue and maybe a touch of an overactive imagination. I continued working, but the whispers grew more insistent. "Help me." I finally decided to follow the voice. It led me to an old, worn book that looked like it hadn't been touched in decades. The cover was faded, and the title was barely legible. The Forgotten Chronicles. With trembling hands, I opened the book. As soon as I did, a gust of wind seemed to blow through the room, despite there being no windows. The pages fluttered, and I could see images forming in the margins, tiny figures moving and acting out scenes from the book. I watched in awe as the story unfolded before my eyes. It was a tale of a lost kingdom, a brave knight, and a hidden treasure. The whispers turned into voices, and the figures grew larger, stepping out of the pages and into the room. The knight, fully armored and majestic, looked at me with piercing blue eyes. "You have freed us," he said. "We've been trapped in this book for centuries." I could hardly believe what I was seeing. Characters from the book were now standing in front of me, as real as you or me. The knight explained that they had been cursed by an evil sorcerer, trapped within the pages of the Forgotten Chronicles, waiting for someone to set them free. I spent the rest of the night talking to the characters, learning about their world and their stories. They were grateful to be free, but they knew they couldn't stay in our world for long. Before the first light of dawn, they had to return to the book, or risk being lost forever. As the sun began to rise, the knight thanked me once more. "You've given us a chance to live again, even if just for a night. We will never forget your kindness." With that, they stepped back into the pages, and the book closed with a soft thud. The whispers ceased, and the room was still once more. I placed the book back on the shelf, my heart still pounding from the night's events. No one believed me when I told them what happened, of course. But every now and then, when I'm alone in the library, I can still hear the faintest whispers, a reminder of the night the library came to life.